Hey everybody, star.citizen here, and today we're taking a look at the F7A Hornet, one of my favorite fighters around the $100 price point. Now, in my opinion, this fighter isn't even really talked about that much, which is a little bit insane to me. It's incredibly maneuverable, and it's just a great all-around craft. Now, getting into the description that the manufacturer gives us on the RSI website, it says that the Hornet is a civilian version of the F7A Hornet flown from the elite Bengal class carrier. Not outfitted per se for long-range runs, but is a tough vehicle capable of taking a few hits. The two keywords to describe this vehicle are going to be rugged and reliable. It can take a few hits from most other fighters out there and continue fighting into the battle and laying down a lot of fire. Now, what are you going to be laying down with that fire? That is going to include the two default CF277 Badger laser repeaters that come pre-installed, but you are going to have the option to upgrade to a size 3 on either of those mounts if you want to. Also, this ship is pretty great because it does have a turret mount available. Now, I want to repeat that because it doesn't come default with the turret mounted there, but it is an option. So if you do want to go out and purchase a turret, you can stick it on the top of this. I highly recommend it. If you do that and you add a big gun on the nose of the craft, we're talking about a lot of firepower, just a lot of guns shooting lots of things at the same time. Who could ever complain about that, am I right? Now, it does have some missile capacity, not a huge amount, 4 missiles total default. You have 2 racks of size 1 missiles with 2 missiles on each rack. That's just enough so that you can maybe punch through those shields with all of your guns, whether you keep the laser repeaters or you change to ballistic and you just tear right through the shields. That's one of the strongest things in my opinion about this craft. It's highly customizable. It has a lot of great features to it. Now, I want to go into a little bit of a comparison to the Gladius. I'm going to start off by saying I think that this fighter is in a lot of ways far superior to the Gladius. We're talking about this vehicle featuring TR2 thrusters for the Hornet versus TR1s on the Gladius. They both have the same amount, but the Hornet is going to have those bigger, more powerful thrusters, which is good for a lot of different things. Maneuverability, agility, just being able to dance around and not get hit as much. Now, I will say the Gladius is a little bit on the lighter side, so depending on what CIG actually does with those statistics, hopefully we're going to see similar maneuverability between the two. But then we're going to look at the Gladius has smaller shields and smaller weapons and smaller thrusters. Bigger is better, am I right? So there's not a lot to the Gladius that would make it better than the F7 Hornet. The only thing is that the Gladius does come and can carry size 3 missiles. So these fighters are kind of intended to be played in different ways. It really depends on how you want to fight. If you want to be someone that, runs in and dodges some fire and then pops off a couple missile shots, blowing the target up in a short amount of time, that might be more of a role for the Gladius. But if you want something that can dogfight and get around other vehicles with its speed and agility and then tear it to pieces with all the different guns you have mounted on it, that's much more of what the F7 is going to offer in terms of firepower. We're looking at a vehicle that is, just has a lot of guns to it. Especially if you put that turret on the top, you have a nose cannon on the front of the vehicle, and then 2 laser repeaters or ballistic cannons on the wings. That's a lot of firepower. It's not the prettiest craft out there, but like I said earlier in the video, we're talking about reliable and rugged. Something that can take a bunch of hits and keep going. It has good shields, big shields, and it's just a really great fighter for its price. Now in the background, we're going to have the Anvil Aerospace Hornet commercial that is on the star.citizen website, or you can find it in a lot of different places on YouTube. Kind of shows off some more cinematic style gameplay of this craft. I am going to have a little bit of a hangar walkthrough possible on this. I was having issues with the Hornet, and I will say At 3.0 right now, I don't know if it's an isolated issue for me, but I've had a lot of trouble spawning the Hornet. We're talking about the classic things in spawning that have been going wrong in 3.0. Lack of a door, lack of an ability to get into the cockpit. I've actually had this thing spawn a bunch of different times, missing the back quarter of the ship in a bizarre way where you can kind of see through the ship. So hopefully I'll show you guys a little bit of that. But there's one last thing I want to talk about, which makes this thing one of my favorite, fighters that is kind of a multi-purpose thing right now. Even though it's not kitted out and specifically designed for long-range mission capabilities, it does have a commodity cargo store-all box on the bottom, a size 2. And what that is going to allow you to do is purchase cargo and do cargo runs with this ship. Now, granted, we're only talking about 22 units of space, so you're not going to be able to make huge cargo runs like you would with the Freelancer or the Cutlass. But it is a good, if you want a fighter, a dedicated fighting vehicle, but you also want to have the availability to do some cargo missions here and there, this is your vehicle. I really think that this thing brings a lot to the table in terms of being able to carry that cargo, being able to have all of that firepower, being able to have bigger shields than the Gladius, being able to have bigger cannons, bigger weapons. One slight downside for right now in the 3.0 is if you don't have another ship, and this is your only ship, the one problem is you're not going to be able to do these flight recorder missions or black box missions because this does not, that store-all container that can do commodity cargoes can't right now. I don't know if this is going to change in the near future or the distant future, but you actually can't take a black box or a flight recorder and carry it and physically put it into the craft. So keep that in mind. If that's what you want to do and you want to do those type of missions, I would personally recommend looking at the Avenger series. It's about to get a rework, and I have a really great video out there in my ship review playlist that talks about the Avenger in detail and in depth. I really wanted to make this just a quick overview today, guys, so thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys like the little bit of style that I decided to add to my videos. I have switched over to Adobe Premiere, and I have started creating intros, and I really want to start doing better with the editing and the quality of my videos. Also, as I've said before in pretty much every other video, drop a like, subscribe, and please comment. Give me your thoughts, give me your ideas. If there's a ship you want to see a review of or gameplay footage of, just let me know. I will do my absolute best to purchase it, or maybe I already have it in my fleet. I do have quite a few ships thus far. So that's about it for me today, guys. Thanks for coming to Soul Citizen, and have a good one.